Oh, yeah. Well, you know. Oh, I've never
What we always do tickets today, my son will have that's on his bucket list. But I did that one. It was a nice.
I'm cheating on you.
My wife was gonna sit there, but we're already here.
Good afternoon. Glad you guys are here. This will be a semi-fast meeting. We don't have a lot of our agenda. So James, if you'd like to cut short some of this meeting, but in the meantime, if you stand, I will give our invocation and thanksgiving for next. Bow your head, please. Father God, may we be blessed in all we do today, confident that the Spirit of God leads us with wisdom and love. We pray in your awesome name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Speaking of this. Okay. Hey. I'm gonna wait for you to sit down. Say hi. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Okay, we have community comments next on our agenda. And so let me go to our forms that you filled out. And let's start with Abigail.
library.
Yes, hello everyone. Well, we are open, even with the debacle that happened last week with the pipe, but we have bathrooms, I'm excited to say. Let's see, not too much, it's kind of quiet for us too. We're gearing up for summer reading, so we have knitting club this Saturday from 10 to 12. And then we have chess club on Friday at 4:30. Yeah,
Love
and that's all I got. What's up?
it. Okay, so I did talk to the other author, and so she's checking around to see who else we have. A lady that owns Maddie's Coffee wrote a book as well. She's not a village resident, but her
Okay.
business is in the village. So we're up to 3. I think we could make that, for those of you who don't know, I asked the village library if those of us that have actually written books, we could have a little, not a signing party or anything, but just kind of a get to know, and for younger people that think they might want to be authors, and give them 3 or 4 different faces to look at, and different types, because all of us are from different genres. And I said I would bring food, most importantly.
Sorry, you're supposed to say.
No beer, but I can bring food.
It's a big draw. It's a big draw too. Yes. That's
I think you
awesome.
did let us, but there are 6 of us up here on the council that are book writers now.
I don't
Or
know.
at least until the food's up.
Oh. I think it looks like it could be a pretty good event.
Awesome. I'll have my employee reach out to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan?
Okay, I have Sherman Hill. I'm here about Village Drive. I live in,
Can you talk into your microphone?
okay, Bruce.
Is it on?
So a little one on top there.
If we had it.
I've never been here.
We use
How about that?
everything till there's out too.
Okay, anyway, I live in Hawthorne that I walk on Village Drive all the time, and have just noticed how it's not that safe for people with strollers and walkers, and people with dogs. And tonight there's people with 2 dogs, and there's trash cans by the driveways, and there's, the high water signs, and there's 2-way traffic, and these streets seem narrow to me, but I don't know. Obviously, they're like effigy cars, but barely. And since we've had the construction, a lot of people have had to do U-turns on Finley, and there's not room that people you have to stop back in order to let the car go around the curb. And that even happens when people are like coming out of another thing here. We have so many side streets off of Penn, and when people want to turn, often they're turning in oncoming traffic, and that person has to stop to let them get around, because nowadays, as you know, we have so many SUVs and pickups, and we have lawn trailers coming in and out, pickups with trailers, and we have city vehicles, we have Amazon and UPS trucks. Occasionally, we have ambulances, we have a lot of elderly people, and not too many fire trucks, but there's just an awful lot of coming and going, and it seems hectic to me, and I think you all have talked about this, making these one way, but I think there's a misconception that a lot of people will be upset about it, that I counted driveways as best I could just tonight, and most over here, we've got like 1 driveway, 2, and if they want to go north or south, they go like 1 block, and they're on Penn, they can do what they want. And there's 9 people, I got a little out of perspective here, there's 9 people here that they can go straight on Stratford or Barclay or Oxford or whatever. And there's 16 houses from that little curve up to Carlton. So in the mornings, if they're wanting to go downtown, they'll be going the right way. And then when they come home, if they're coming from downtown, they can stay on Penn and get off on Carlton if they want. I don't think it's that, we're talking 2/10 of a mile. And so maybe these people will be the most inconvenient. That's like a dozen. I think one of those is vacant. So again, in the morning, going to work, if they're going downtown, they urge not to get in Carlton and go up. If they want to, but they'll probably just go to Penn. They can go to May, but it's a little bit further. But I really don't think it's going to be that inconvenient. And let's see, I cover everybody, dog walkers, strollers, bikers, joggers, plane walkers. The trash cans are a real problem. We have about 21 driveways here and 28 driveways here. So they all have their trash cans out on the street, and half the time, not half the time, but occasionally they will tip over and cars have to go around those. And often we have parked cars, and when that happens, then you have to go around the parked car. And then this happens often with dog walkers or stroller pushers. If you've got to get out in the middle of the street to go around the parked car, and then you've got oncoming and behind you, and I just don't think it's very walker friendly. And I think the goal of our city council now, with all the wonderful parks and the improvements that you're spending so much time on, to make this a walkable community, which is a great goal. And I just think that going ahead with something you talked about, I think before, making these one way each way would be a vast step in the right direction.
Thank you, Susan.
Having that one way.
We appreciate it very much. We've looked at this before when we were going through our TIF project, and I think that after the dust settles, we'll probably look over it again. And
We have, some plans are drawn up. I think where we left it was get through this work, because it's budgeted as part of the TIF improvement. It's the bike path, it's a bicyclist, they're going to give us all. But what Bruce and I talked about, I don't know if we talked about here, was at some point just buying one-way signs and trying this. I mean, it's not an expensive thing. I mean, signs are cheap. Anyways,
it'll be controversial, but we'll look at it.
Thank you very much.
Charlie?
Well, good evening. I'm here to propose you guys are building a fountain. There's a product that came out of a retired educator, and a company got hold of me and said, hey, I want you to campaign this. It's a new microbial bug that you put in your fountains, put in your lakes, your ponds. It eats hydrocarbons. It's environmentally responsible. If you've ever been near a fountain and you smell all that chemical, all that chlorine, that's getting in your skin. And you know kids are going to play in that pond. So there's another way. There's a new environmental product out. It just came out, but they've been testing it for years. We use it at SeaWorld. I want the Village, Oklahoma, to be the first city in the nation to use this product. How expensive is it? With that size pond, you're probably going to spend about something under $400 for 5 years. That's pretty cheap. You can use it at the yard. I talked to some of the guys at the yard. Sean's used it. We tried it at his place. It ate all the grease out of his grease traps. It's nothing new. They've been using it since the early 1900s, but they've developed it like they have the new light bulb and the new cell phone, instead of it. This is something not to be shelved or anything like that. If you need any more information, I'm happy to chat with you about it. But more importantly, what happened recently down my street was there was some paint that was dripped all the way from this gentleman's house to the yard. I went out there when it was raining and sprayed just a little bit of it, and it ate it completely down to it took care of it, it removed it. It does that, it eats hydrocarbons. There's an oil company, that biggest in Oklahoma, that's using it now in 7 different applications. They're using it underground storage tanks for oil and fuel. It's easy. We've been using it like Shamu. It's easy. If it's good enough for Shamu, it's good enough for you guys. So this is something to look at, but it's going to put this city as the first of the nation. And we would like to promote that. And I can help you guys if you help me help you.
Sean's cooking with it now.
I'm sure.
Let me jump in for just a second. So how long ago did you call me? About 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And we met, and I was like, well, this literally sounds too good to be true. I said, if you want, and you want to come practice in some area, and you prove out to be true, I said, I'll happily put you together with Larry, with Public Works, and see what you can do. So we have a container in the back of the restaurant where we pour all our grease into, and then the truck comes and picks it up. And around it, over a 20, 40-year period, there were just layers of gunk. And I'm not embarrassed, I mean, I'm impressed to say, so it took about 5 days, and literally it was powder, like there was, well, the grease was going like asphalt, and everything else was powder. So it worked in that application. So I said, hey man, come up, I'll put you together with Larry and see that if it continues to work that well, I would actually like to be the first city to adopt that or something. Yeah.
Well, there's other avenues first.
I know.
We call the city manager and city attorney.
On something like that, there's nothing to lose. The damage is there.
Well, what's gonna, eventually is gonna happen is that, because I've been down at the Department of Agriculture and the Farm Bureau for the last 2 weeks, and they're pounding down my door because now they want me to do the aquarium in Tulsa. It competes with algae. So just imagine going to Lake Hefner and getting water and putting it in your mouth to drink it. Because it'll fix all that when given the opportunity. They're microbial bugs, but these are the ones that don't drown. And if you put them in your soil, this is the crazy part. Because if you've ever been to my house, I've got the nicest garden in town. It goes down 2 feet below the frost line, so the next year your soil's even better.
And so there we go.
Any other questions?
What pond are you speaking
You guys are putting in a fountain here.
of? Oh, okay.
And so, judging by it's gonna cost you from the people that I've been speaking to, it's probably gonna cost you about, 3,000 to 5,000 to have another contractor come in and do that. I can actually teach you guys how to do it to people at the yard. And by teaching you, all this is just squirting in less than 4 ounces. We'll do 340,000 gallons of water. I don't think your fountain is that big.
Okay. Charlie, thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
No, rush. Come on.
So I have 2 quick questions. One is, several people in the neighborhood have flagpoles with flags on them. And we're thinking about putting a flagpole in our yard. I want to know if that's okay.
What's the code say?
Contact the planning department,
Yeah.
and they can tell you more than you want to know about flagpole.
Yeah. I was hoping he'd be here tonight.
You know, I was just down in Texas this last week, and, you think about that side of the flagpole?
No, just regular flagpole. I know my husband does everything extra, but this is just a regular flagpole.
Okay.
You know, got it at Home Depot or Lowe's or maybe.
That's a good idea. Yeah, you might get with Ken and y'all talk about it and see
Okay,
what's going on.
but if he approves it, then,
If it's ordinances or, for everybody, yeah.
all right. And then the other question is, they haven't started mowing the alley yet. And it's about chest high on me. So,
You're not their
They're not
house.
gonna mow it this week.
okay,
Yeah, can you check and see what they're gonna?
I mean, and it's like, I looked down it today, so I walked by, I mean, and part of it is, it's between Sunnymead and Utica. Usually it's taken care of, but that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
We're gonna wish they took care of it by now when they get back.
Jane,
Okay,
and I was just teasing, you've got the same time.
I know that the city manager needs to go through your minutes, so I'll make, I hope everybody had a nice Mother's Day, so I wonder if your wife and daughters I'll be able to. Can somebody explain to me the traffic in front of Ridgeview Elementary, because I'm having to go through the, to go down because this road being torn up. They have cones up, and I take it was to direct the traffic to turn when you have to go in to pick up your child at Ridgeview. Is that one way where I'm not supposed to drive in? I guess, I went around the block, but I just didn't know, is that one way?
No, it's 2-way. I think they're just trying to control their traffic.
Okay.
Best advice, just avoid it around 8 AM and 3:30 or what, I mean, I
Well, I
don't
think
know.
that much, but I just
Yeah.
want to make sure, because the school's almost out anyway.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd ask. And then, I've had several people call me about the canal that we're working on, between, behind Haverhill and Stone, I think it's that canal. Anyway, are they through with it? It looks like what they've done, they put the cement, is it over? Are they through with it?
Meter channel,
Yes,
99.9%.
okay, okay, well, it looks, I mean.
We'll have some pictures of it if we get towards the.
Okay. And, then I had, Tony Ibero from the drugstore was over, and he was weeding and cutting down the oil grass for that lady that tried to cut it down before, and I said, no. And he was just shortening it. Is there any way we can get some metal signs and identify what kind of oil and grass it is, so people won't be riding and say, I don't dare do anything with it, because they do, like, the guy was mowing the city when people know it's not weeds.
And this is some of our,
Residents in the Cassie Manor, you know, when I'm out Indian trash or whatever, they come over and, what do you think this is?
The door knockers out.
well, I thought you just sat in the front yard all the time and talked to people that were in the park. So,
Well,
I mean, maybe we can get something that says.
or do we have
We'll
something?
ask the city manager to look that.
I know that sounds petty, but.
Jane, when you can't watch the park, call Dave, he'll come over, he'll sit out in the yard. Dave, your poor side or something like that, what do you want?
Yeah, they got it, I don't know, something from that.
Yeah.
Well, I had people on my side, it's oriental grass, it's supposed to look like that. Looks like weeds to me. You know.
Just like the same people who wouldn't restripe the tennis courts after we striped it for pickleball.
Yeah.
So, anyway, just thought I would.
They're cool.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No questions about the slide or anything? Thank you, Jay. Agenda approval and consent agenda. You guys have anything that you'd like to add or subtract from our minutes and from our regular meetings or claims of the month or anything else, or do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Sean, second by Sonny. David?
Yeah.
Melody? Sean?
Yeah.
Bubba?
Okay.
Sonny?
Yay.
Next on the agenda is consideration of resolution 5/15/2023, authorizing the city manager to award the bid for street milling and overlay projects and to execute contract documents. David?
Number 5, before that, I think was the delinquent utility account.
Discussion? Yes, there is. Let's do that first. Discussion regarding improvement of the process of collecting delinquent utility accounts. That's very important.
We have to talk about your account.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yes.
Okay, David?
We're just looking, we have some delinquent utility accounts. It's kind of a challenge to collect because we really can't disconnect trash and EMS and sewer maintenance. We bill bi-monthly, so everyone needs a bill for 2 months. So we're looking at that process and what's stacked up. One thing that we've identified is we're probably going to switch collection accounts, but Bev had a great idea of looking at drafting an ordinance of a failure to pay a municipal citation, so they would come before the judge. And the judge would decide what they can do. If they pay before court, they just pay the bill. But if they are having extenuating circumstances, the judge can work with them through that to get payment without having to process through a collection agency. Because when you send someone to collections, they pay more than what the bill is. Usually the people that are struggling, that have true struggles to pay their bills, are struggling financially. So this really won't impact the credit. The judge renders a decision. And if they want to pay their court ticket, then they would get sent to collections with the rest of the people who don't pay their court tickets. But what we're looking at doing is instead of turning this straight to collections and continuing that financial burden and level of hardship on our customers, would be to grant the citation, they would appear before court and get disposition from the judge.
How many people are we talking?
Yeah, that was.
Well, that's why we're all trying.
Let's talk to your real expert here, Dave. Thank you. Treva, how many are we talking?
Okay, right now, we have 124 people that are in collections. And they have been in collections for quite some time. We have 428 people that have not even turned on their service. I have been working since I started in this position, getting with the county assessors and sending letters out stating that they are supposed to have trash service in the city of the village.
a lot of people think that the water and the trash are together. So I've been getting some response with that, that makes out like 552 homes that do not have any kind of service. Some of them that have gone to collections, they don't even bother trying to do it because they don't have to pay for that service.
And is this the $33 a month,
It'd be $32.50 a month,
15?
$32.50.
50, no. So we're talking $18,000 a month?
And are these people receiving are they getting the service?
After they have, we have notified them, we pick up their trash carts if we can. Sometimes they put them in the back or in the garage, then they will try to put those out. I do have a list that I send to Waste Connections notifying them of the trash service that are not supposed to be picked up because of no service, because they have not paid their bill.
I'm shocked by the 428 that just don't turn it on.
But in answer to that, we cannot shut off sewer, so they automatically get sewer service regardless. Our only way to turn anything off is through trash service. And so we use that as a tool, but it's not working.
Someone's trash can, it still has to go somewhere, and it
Right.
generally goes somewhere.
Exactly. When
Right.
I was thinking the exact same thing, but when it's being emptied, I was thinking that's the prime opportunity to maybe have someone right after the empty, put it on the back of the truck, because you already know who they are. But, I was just wondering what the approach was up to this point.
Well, the trucks that are going by and picking up the trash service, or recycle, they are not equipped to pick up they don't have a trailer. So that's another set of people. And we've got two more guys that they have been training for the last 4 weeks. Because the ones that they had doing it, was marking that the job was completed, that they had picked it up, and we found out that they had been delivering them, and they had been picking them up. So that's another issue that I'm trying to deal with. And trying to make sure that we have a faster pickup time when somebody is missed. There's a lot of, like housewife service, that people come in and get on that service, but it takes a few weeks for the drivers to get used to that new list. But they get, most of that time, it's daily that I update that list, taking somebody off or putting someone on.
So this idea is that we would issue them a ticket, serve them the ticket, serve them notice that they're
It
gonna
would
show
be
up
for the delinquent, but we may need to have something. It is a struggle because we have new people who move in that think that their trash is with their water because that's what they pay. They pay their sewer as well. So they're looking at the daily run audits of who's.
Can we not work with Oklahoma City on this and say, here's the list of people who have initiated service with us and don't, I don't know what our contract with Oklahoma City says, but I assume there's some contract.
We're missing an enforcement arm here.
Well, that's really what it is, to where even if they don't have utilities and they're not turning them on when Treva sends them a letter, maybe if they get a citation to appear.
Well, the citation can also turn into X amount of dollars a month for not paying, if I'm correct.
I think we have some that this is just general, they don't know. I'm sure we have some that know it very well until they're finished.
Yeah, and that would be the last thing is to really throw the enforcement arm on them.
So what are we done to try to reach out to? We just send a mail saying.
Well, the first thing we do when someone moves out, I give Larry a list of the people that have turned off their service. So that following month, he gets that list and they sent out these little papers saying that, you need to sign up for trash service. Well, after so long, if they don't do that, then I end up sending them a letter. Because then I'll get, look on the county assessor and see who has purchased that home.
We can't go pick up the trash cans.
Well,
After the
it's
service has been turned
kind
on.
of a logistical issue too for Waste Connection. I mean, we could probably, I don't speak for Larry's if they need one more thing to do, but that could be something that we would, grab and pull and hold in the yard. But we're just looking at, we're realizing that some things we need adjusted here.
Okay, you're saying that we don't want to pick up the truck, we want them to use it. So why don't we figure out a way to make them use it?
Well,
and not pick it up?
the thing of it is, when we pick up those trash cards, we get a call that day. Because their trash cans are missing. And
And they're still not paying for it, and they still don't pay for
then that's usually when I would get a payment.
it. Okay,
And
so,
then we have to have a new contract. But what we were doing in the past was that Public Works was going to pick up the trash carts and everything. But I think in the new contract with Waste Connections, they're the ones that are supposed to be picking up the trash carts. And it usually takes 7 to 10 business days, according to them, sometimes even sooner, before they can get the trash carts back. That's another problem that I
well, I would think that we can interact with this particular problem, because it's not gonna be 100 a day. You're picking up 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, and the thing is, we wanna get them quick, and then we wanna turn them back to them.
Right.
So I would think we ought to figure something out there.
Is Waste Connections gonna throw a fit if we pick them up and having a centralized location for them to come retrieve?
Hopefully it'll go back.
Well,
Can I jump in here real quick? Couple of things as I read through this. So we are not writing them a citation they will end up in jail for. That's really important to throw out here. This is just another step to mediate whether we get our money. But if it's $20,000 a month, we are doing budgeting here this week. One extra guy with Larry could easily pay for themselves, chasing this stuff down.
I agree with that.
And we could put it in a centralized location, and Waste Management can just come pick it up there with their trailer and say, we're going house to house. But I mean, that financially it would work for us to chase this down.
I'm with Sean, there's some money here.
But then the trash is gonna be in the front yard.
No, no. I know you're being funny, but no, that's a different citation. That's a
I call it only the enforcer over there.
No, that's something different, but what I was thinking, because I already see a truck driving around during the first of the month for Big Trash Day. We already have an extra vehicle out there on some, the lack of a better term, patrol. They're riding around to see where the big trash pickups are. This is a time that you already have extra movement, so that might be the time in coinciding that routes trash day and get that picked up at that time, because this is something that at some point, I know when I moved to the village, of course I was a little confused, but I quickly understood, and maybe there's something that we can do. I mean, not for these particular persons, but if we have some property changing hands, maybe we get a door hanger or something that Public Works or whoever the proper person.
That's what they put out.
Oh, they do put that out
They do
as
put
soon as
that
they, okay. It notified me that this is something that you must do.
Yes.
Okay, well then we're at, I think we're at crossroads.
So the commercial one that you guys put on buildings are really, really obvious. It's a sticker that's on the door telling you you have to go to the village and get your occupancy permit. So maybe
But are
it
we
needs to
talking,
be that.
but are we talking residential or are we talking business?
So commercial, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
the
okay.
commercial one works, because you go through the building, as soon as you unlock it, maybe it just needs to be bigger and more severe.
True, are very many of these rental properties where we have a different owner?
That is one of the problems, because I am seeing more people out of state buying the properties, then they're turning it over to a property management company. And so then you've got an owner, you've got property management, then they're renting the property. And it's a vicious cycle because you're not really sure who you're supposed to be sending the bill to or who's going to take care of that bill. And it's just,
Property manager, that's what his title is.
well, that is true, but
I don't do trash.
20 grand a month, I might sign up to go do this myself. I'll negotiate for 10 grand a month.
I will tell you that this one particular case was that we never could reach the property management company to even fill out the paperwork for the trash service that the occupant's waiting for. So maybe you had to try to find the homeowner, which I emailed, I sent a letter to, and that's the only way I can get in touch with them because the telephone numbers were not any good.
May I ask, are these receptacles already at the residence when these people move in?
Sometimes if they have a quick turnaround, like somebody has bought that house and they move in like the next week or two, the receptacles will be there. So then my paperwork is less because I don't have to communicate with Waste Connections to deliver that or fix a new slip out that they are on this list to be picked up.
Well, I'm with Sunny about the fact that we're losing money as the citizens of the village. And we are gonna have to figure out something because that means there's several folks taking a free ride. And if we all are paying it and we have these 124 delinquent accounts, we're gonna have to make a plan. So I'm with the idea about the ticket, but I also think that there needs to be that real arm that says we pick up these receptacles. Because at some point, like he said, yeah, they might try to start doing something different or shit, I don't know, but this shouldn't continue.
$216,000.
So I worked at another city that only had sewer, it didn't have water. So we had the same situation. And I will say that one of the other things that we did on rental property is we made the homeowner or the owner of that property, he was responsible, or she, to pay the bill, period.
I thought we had that.
And if it was a continuous rental, we never shut it off. Because they would not tell us when people were in or out. So we just said, if you're gonna use this as a rental property, you keep service on all the time, we don't turn it off, and you pay for it.
Well, that's what we already
And
do.
that's what we really need.
We are doing it.
We do have some of the homeowners that are paying it, but there are some that do not want to pay it, and they make the residents pay it. And then you send a notice on both of them because neither one of them will pay it.
So is this just
Well, that's
an
it.
ordinance issue?
Well, Trina's been utility building director since January-ish, so we've been working through a lot of these as we found them, so we're just kind of letting you guys know. This is what the problem is, here's what we're looking at. I think we can work with Oklahoma City for some billing information.
I like the idea on the ordinance, us being the benefactor of all these accounts and making it work, because it does give us a hand in it. My thought would be to, after budget, let's make this one of our big priorities. And maybe have a couple of council members work with you and Treva and try to come up with some ideas. Go ahead.
You don't need to make a remedy, you have one. Put a lien on the house, that's it. Then if they don't at the house.
But then the problem with the liens are the lien will sit there for decades, get somebody a home, on the house rented forever. And then, I mean, we've got liens on properties here that nobody in this room's ever gonna see paid off. I mean, I get your point, that
And we can go through that too, when we're looking at all the other.
I think somehow tying it to the city and water.
Several things to look at.
Yeah,
I just wanted to remind council that,
Guys.
I just want to remind council that writing a citation is a criminal misdemeanor charge. So even though if you give direction to the judge that, to dismiss these, it still could potentially result in criminal fines and jail time.
I worry this becomes.
Okay, well, I'm out right there.
Yeah, Sean, I mean, I just worried this becomes kind of like picked up with a little pot, and the next thing you know, you're down accounting and you're dead. So I'm not on the citation route, just because I just snowball that and the other reality.
I mean, that's a city.
It's a misdemeanor, so.
I mean, you know, you could just keep, but you can still keep pounding a dollar amount on there for not paying. You don't even have to mention 30 days.
That's correct. And you can make your ordinance to where jail is not.
Right. Right. There's always a way around it.
But there's also the political aspect that I've seen when I researched how many other cities in Oklahoma have done this. Tacoma Park is the only one that I can see. They do this in Alabama and a few other states in the South. It
made the national news.
Yeah.
That there was an elderly woman
Exactly.
that
Which I was going to ask what kind of programs or opportunities are available for people who legitimately have difficulties paying. Can they apply for a hardship, things of that nature?
There's got to be some ways that we can, you know, figure this out.
It doesn't sound like to me that the bulk of these are a hardship situation. So I think that based on what we're talking about, we probably could definitely arrive at something that could work, but we can't continue just to turn a blind eye to this. And I would like to understand more about if we put liens on properties, why there aren't being, when these properties change hands. I used to sell real estate. You should not be able to transfer a property from one owner to another unless it's a private sale. That is a title company issue, and they should be held accountable. We should get our money.
But they're not selling the houses, yeah. We don't.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
That's the problem.
Okay, gotcha.
They're sitting on the house for 30 years. And they owe us $20,000.
What if we got these neat signs and put them out in the front?
We see a lot too is like if they're rental homes, they're held in like a single purpose LLC, and then they'll just sell the LLC, so it never actually changes.
Yeah. And then, so,
Okay,
what if we agree on, let's get this.
we're really not looking for any agreement, just discussion.
So
So
we got that.
And one of them wasn't even here.
He's a homeowner.
We could talk all night if we don't have to vote on it.
But you're, can't let go.
Well, I'm based on the discussion, I'm firmly on the fact that these people should not be able to continue to keep the receptacles at their residence if they are not paying for the service.
Yeah, part of this challenge too is that we bill for 2 months at a time, so send a bill every month. So when the bill goes out, and we're looking at some language and changing our bill, that basically we send second notices, that's just wasting postage, final notice of wasting postage, so change the language on our bills, saying the bills are due on the blank day of each month. If said day falls on a weekend or holiday, payment is due the following business day. If it's not received by X date, it's subject to a late fee of blank %, and the failure to pay within blank days of due date will result in either failure to pay citation or collections.
And are we updating or changing how we bill or collect payments? No, maybe just with like the new website, is it gonna be easier for somebody to go set up auto pay?
Yes.
I'm just, the world is subscriptions, so this is your trash subscription,
Yeah,
$30 a month.
and a different way of, receiving billing. And not to eliminate so many phone calls, we are bogged down in the office with, credit cards. And them giving us that information. We're trying to, either set everything up on auto pay. Or e-pay. They can come in with a check or a credit card, but not over the phone, because.
I deal with the same thing every day, and we're going through it again.
Yeah, it's a safety issue as well.
No, it makes us liable when.
Yes, and so that's a discussion that I've had with Beverly, so that we can try to change some other methods.
Yeah.
It would be the best thing to
Sure,
do.
there's some better software out there, we can generate an invoice.
So then the good news is now we're aware of it, and you're still out there just kind of accumulating information yourself. with
Well,
everything.
I've already approached Beverly with the things that I've already seen that needs to be changed. We can't keep going down this road without some changes being made, because it's just getting other people further and further in debt, and we're paying for service that,
My suggestion would be to, after we get through the budget, let's look at it again in either July or August.
That's why we want to bring us,
Yeah.
just to get your feedback before we come back to close the motion.
need some ideas so that we can start putting things into motion.
I think the mayor should have a board of idea with that.
I can do that.
We can get you a yellow vest.
There we go. Oh, hard hat. Mayor.
Anybody else?
Trina, thank you so much. Good job, by the way, thank you for your input.
Thanks.
And we're going to be coming back at you for more.
Okay.
David, do you have anything else to add on that?
Appreciate it.
Jeff? Good.
Got my check marks, everybody's okay.
So we're revisiting this?
Yeah.
We're not following suit now.
Let's move on to consideration of resolution 515-2023, authorizing the city manager to award the bid for street milling and overlay projects and to execute contract documents. David?
This is for the phase one of the street projects of the 2022 GO bond. These projects, we estimate cost of $1.681820. We did have some contract changes in the bid specs to Havermill Place is going to reduce by 250 feet to be compliant with the bond ballot specifications to end at Colebrook. And then we'll look at doing it from Colebrook to Lanesboro as a separate project under capital improvements. And the Huntley work was specified, it's having an east-west segment in it instead of just the north-south by Bumpus Park that was in the bond. And we had some minor cost reductions. We'll place curb and gutterings, the bid specifications, the design plans, provided with links. Addendum 1 was the question and answers to the pre-bid conference. And addendum 2 was removing Victoria Place out because we're doing that segment of this project with the parks upgrade. It will be the street bond fund paying for it, but it's been awarded under with the parks upgrades. So we had the bid from Ruby Construction, bid from Ellsworth Construction, both were above the engineer's estimate for the base bid. Dry and read at the same time. Okay, so the alt one was for a lot more curb and guttering than what we really needed. That was just going out looking about every joint to replace. There is some curb and guttering in the bid specs for some that were really bad. Our recommendation is to award the bid to Rudy Construction for the 2.142405 as bid on the base bid, and not the alternate bid, and we'll probably bring the change order back up to $150,000 for additional curb and guttering work. It should suffice for the project. So based on our bond funding, we have $1.681820 committed to street improvements as listed. We have an unrestricted fund available of $1.854933. This project will use $603,585 of that unrestricted fund for streets. That will leave us $1.251348 in unrestricted funds to go with phase 2. And phase 2's cost estimate or revenue estimate for the bond is $1.901647. So I imagine later we open bids on phase 2. They're probably going to be a little bit over that, and that's fine. That's why we have the 15% unrestricted funds. But we can get these improvements accomplished within our GO bond fund range and stay on track and be ready for phase 2.
Okay, any discussion? Everybody okay? Okay, then our resolution would be to award Rudy Construction the bid for 2142-405.00 toward the Orley project and execute the contract documents. Is that good? Do I have a
I'll make a motion.
Motion.
To approve. I'll second the motion.
okay, roll call?
David,
Yay.
Melanie,
Yay.
Sean,
Yay.
Bubba,
Yay.
Sonny.
Yay.
Now, Rudy, and this is a serious question. This is in no way applied to the guys that screwed up the Lakeside, right? Rudy's, they're good guys.
Rudy's good guy. You ever heard the word crosswind in here? Run.
Okay.
Yeah, Rudy's done a lot of work in the village.
Rudy's done great, ATEC has done good, and then who's doing, Brewer's doing the work on.
Brewers do Gladstone.
Brewer's done good stuff.
That's a good question, yeah.
Unless they're like the people that keep changing hands of the LLCs.
Quick learner. Fair point.
Okay, let's move on. David, Church, financial report.
Okay, financial reports were included in your package. I cannot see that far because normally keep them spread out. We're moving forward to closing out the year and getting our 2 months estimate in for the budget ranges. If you have any questions on the financial report? Beth can answer one.
Smart city manager right there.
Sales up a little bit. We're on pace to exceed our budgeted sales tax estimate, which is always a great thing whenever you change city managers mid-year. Some of the data that we pulled together, we on the sales and use tax year to date, 7.3 million compared to 6.7 last year. We're all still spending the same amount of money. We're just getting less of what we're spending on it costs less. It costs more.
It's, did I read that right too? Our expenses were 8 point something million? Just a minor difference.
Which expenses?
But month, are we comparing month,
A year.
yeah.
General fund. Total expenditures 13 million.
It was more than our income.
Huh.
Which is not, when we budget, that doesn't matter.
Oh, this is that Bruce's
This thing.
configuration.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
we'll
go.
talk about this, right?
We're getting ready to get into it. Let's don't go on.
Yeah, no, we're fine. We
Let's
just
keep going.
Categories for all our reports.
No, I like this dashboard, kind of snapshot.
Oklahoma Municipal Management Services, they built this access database, and,
Good. Has pictures of
Lots of-
so that's really good.
No, you've got, I like the charts. They're easy to understand.
And the retailer is split up wide.
I'm
You have
sorry.
two different sections for retail trade. You get one at 44, sector 44, sector 45.
And same with transportation.
Yeah, I'll get you the answer on that.
Okay. I'm just saying, just why, one might be service oriented, the other might be construction. I'd like to know.
I'll figure out my categories. Meeker Channel Drainage Improvement Project is nearly done. They came in and added one more panel to it and put the wrong base down. It was just sand, and we got some rain that washed out. They got us fixed up on that, did a great job on that. Gladstone drainage is still rock and rolling. They're going to be done before too long. I've got a good test on it this week and probably will continue for the next couple of days. Making progress on the Civic Plaza. It was a beautiful day with the rain out, no noise outside. The new traffic lights are in operation on Vineyard and Penn. Those are on camera, not just a loop, so we are seeing them move a little bit faster. Vineyard work's progressing. We hope to see Kingston open soon. I don't have a date for that, and even if I did, based on the weather, I wouldn't say anything out loud. The Village Green project has started. We got our series submitted to ACOG, and our sidewalk improvement phase, one of the 2022 bonds is about 65%. Met with them earlier this week. That's looking pretty good on that project. And we're just kind of immersed in budget and CBAs with the locals. My schedule is fixing to get a little bit more crazy than normal. I'm on vacation next week in Mexico for my son's senior trip with 5 other families. I'm kind of turning a part-time employee here through the month, but as soon as I get back, I'm moving in to finish budget by June 1st. So, departmental reports.
Direct all of our 5 a.m. texts to Beverly.
No, it's just
I
just
start sending them to Bruce again.
There's some pictures of before and after the Beacon Channel.
It's quite a big difference.
We still, there are a couple of smaller areas that we still have the funding for that our crews are gonna get in there and clean up. But those are minor.
Oh, that's good.
Good projects. It's just slow.
You got questions?
Just for fun, can I actually spray some of my stuff on there just for fun? It'll eat all that stuff up, all that heavy metal, micro, and algae.
Try Jane's yard first.
Yeah, those little pad things are plants that are gonna go grass, so I don't know what's spray anything on them in that area. Firefighters gave you guys some pictures too.
We've been doing things.
Any questions?
I'm glad everybody can see the reports. This is very, very important. We responded to 169 incidents in the fire department, which is really amazing to me. And then we're reading the reports every day anyway, which is again, eye-opening and I'm enjoying kind of seeing what's going on in our community. I like our training on, almost everything that we do. Our EMIS, 671 hours, I mean, that's incredible. And I think a lot of that is for that second training group, which enables those guys to perform, life-saving procedures on old people like me. I was for that, by the way. My wife was not for that. She kept saying that it's your life insurance policy. Let's see, our Mayday training. Have we been through the police also? Everybody look at that. Sonny, we missed you. They only had 7 DUIs. That 8th one, I guess, went away.
Thanks, Phil. For the record, I stand at 0.
I noticed that we have a citizen in our hiring review board. Is that correct? You know?
In the hiring review board, I believe so. Those are,
Okay.
but they're former, I can't remember the graduates of the Citizen Police Academy or not.
Okay. Oh, I'll find out. It's okay. We've got 7 officers that are leaving, gonna leave, could retire, could leave. That's a big void if they all hit at once. So I know that you guys are on that. And I know Russ is on it. I think it's just something to be aware of because it's not easy finding the guys that we want to come be on our police force. Okay, move on.
I have a question. Did you just say that we have a citizen on our hiring review board?
Through the hiring process, I can't remember if it's a panel.
I don't think it's a panel.
Just one.
I just picked that up on the report. So.
Ask Russ on Wednesday, he can walk you through that.
Russ?
Yeah.
Okay.
The police chief we meet Wednesday, he can explain that to you.
Okay.
Good to see you.
Yeah, I like it. Plus, it's, like I said, those guys are really out there trying to look for possible candidates, so nothing's easy on hiring for the cities. Okay, keep going, Dave. Manager's report, department report, attorney comments, city attorney comments.
I've got nothing for y'all this week.
Okay, then let's go to council comments. Our city council comments. You still don't have anything? Make up something. We need you. Let's start another lawsuit. Come on, let's do something. All right, let's go to council comments. Let's start with some of our favorite orators here. Let's start with Sean.
Comments on this, if we're gonna hire 7 officers, we're gonna have to reasonably discuss the car thing. Because we're gonna have to put something out there. Everybody's in need there. I don't think I really have anything other than that. Thanks.
David?
I've got nothing for you.
Okay, Melody?
We appreciate it.
I do have a couple of things. When I was campaigning, there were some citizens that all told me that there would be questions and things of that nature. They are things that had already been on my radar prior to coming into this body. But one of the things is that, of course, everything won't be just about my street, but of course, it is something that was on the radar prior. And that is, and it's gotten worse. I think the worst it got was during COVID, and that is something to do with the dumpster at the laundromat on the corner of Britain and Nichols. We are noticing that the public is using their dumpster, and so there ends up being trash on the ground around the dumpster. And so I'm not sure how we approach that or how we address that, but there were a few neighbors that let me know when I came to their door. So I at least wanted to bring it to you. And with you all in other wards, I know you have businesses that have business receptacles that you might be able to give me some feedback or some ideas about that. Then one of the other things is that one of our other corporate neighbors is allowing their vendor that mows to mow their trash, and we get a confetti bath on our street when they get their grass mowed. And so that neighbor is Cassidy School, and they are allowing this. I don't know if it's a new vendor, but I did at least go ahead and, as a resident, their next door neighbor, let them know that this is a problem because that's so rude. I was outside, me and my neighbor, when that happened for the first time, and it was when we hadn't had a lot of rain for a while. So it was very dusty and very arid, and everything took flight when they cut it. And they cut it in the those high-speed mowers. So it was like, yay, it was New Year's Eve. And I were standing there we both had just put on chapstick, so we had gritty lips, and I mean, just like our glasses were dusty and everything. So anyway, those are a couple of things that number one, as a resident, because I've always been a resident and I'll always be, but also some of the things that were brought to me from other residents. Thank you.
That's great. That's not acceptable at all. I think that's, I've seen that happen many times as I go around. I saw a crew one time over close somewhere on Northland Road, maybe blowing back everything they just mowed into the street. I got out of my car and I walked up to the guy and I said, you know, this is illegal. You cannot do this. I said, this needs to be picked up. We do not allow any of this grass or anything else you cut into the street. And that is an ordinance, by the way. You cannot blow it into the street. Well, this is just as bad, if not worse, because you're cutting everybody else's paper and it's going everywhere else. It's going to many different places. So I think you did notify.
Yes.
Cassidy, I think that's.
Yes, there
because they
is
probably didn't know.
Mr. Coate, Mark Coate is who I did give a call to. I saw him in because I'm right there, so I get to see them quite often, some of the other representatives of the school. And so he did give me the phone number.
Good. Keep his number. That's good.
Oh, I definitely will.
Sonny.
Well, yeah, like I said, one of the privileges of being on the council is everybody on your street, including those you live with, know you're on the council. Dave got a phone call from me the other day.
My husband.
Yeah, my wife called me, she backed out of our driveway and said, I have a complaint. I said, you have a new neighbor? So,
You said that you introduced your spouse as constituent number one.
yeah, I called my constituent has an issue and I need to talk to you about it right now. But I do have a question for the people on my street. The work on Carlton, that's the sidewalk, right? Will be. Are they also gonna redo the street, the intersection at Chesterton and Carlton? Because everybody's here is a big old backhoe showed up and they're all.
Yes, and they're gonna do one lane at a time.
So everybody does realize that on the other end of that block, we have one lane where I ended up going the wrong way because of the Gladstone.
Larry has assured me that he's visited with them, and
When does this work start?
it didn't start today.
So the text tonight, and I will be out of town for the next.
It is coming soon, so please be patient with us. There
It
will be some
needs to be
inconveniences.
done, but I didn't have an answer for him, and I said, well, progress.
There will be some inconveniences, but it will, when it's done, it'll be much better than it is.
Like to make
We're gonna just let it sit and rot.
I'm gonna make a motion to redistrict Chesterton Place to. Okay, well, I do appreciate you taking my questions the other day too, Dave. You're wonderful at that, but, Susan is gone, but totally support the idea. If you guys have not been to see Village Drive in the afternoon, especially sometimes in the morning, go over there around 5 or 6. And the amount of walkers along Village Drive is, I mean, there's a ton of people out. And then I've been talking about this for years, so I'm happy Susan brought it up again, so we can look at it, but there's a lot of people.
Yeah, that's traffic. She took some time on it.
No, I came in and she closed it, I go, no, I think you want me to see that one because I'm gonna afford this. So
I thought it was the one that I should home, I had the wrong street.
that's why I thought she was talking about this, and then she told me. But I haven't seen her walk around, Rick and Linda are with her, and they walk all the time, and Susan and I are thinking, I mean, she's right, there's strolling some dogs and people dodging UPS trucks. I was gonna ask that question though, is I'm just assuming it's illegal for an Amazon truck to drive the wrong way down a residential street, just because it's more convenient for him to hop out of the truck?
I can tell you that you have vehicles that double park in illegal parking spots, you have vehicles that stop on the federal highway to drop off a package and.
No, I just saw one
It is
doing
a
it
minor
there.
inconvenience, but I think you deny someone from getting their Amazon, we need to throw some chairs in here.
Not proposing it, because primary constituent's gonna be upset with me, but I didn't see that.
Somebody heard that on YouTube.
You didn't? No, I was just, I
It's
saw
a challenge.
it.
It's a challenge, we did ask.
I did not ask about dating it, I just.
Deliveries and delivery drivers.
DUIs and ban.
I hate to say this, but I did see somebody letting the air out of the tires of one of the Amazon trucks.
And the rest of us.
Guaranteed me same day delivery, and I got it the next day. So it was on them.
Okay, anything else, gentlemen, ladies? You good?
I have a question real quick.
You said that.
No.
Jamie?
Okay, when you're working on the streets, like you mentioned Havenville and Lanesboro, and if you're gonna do it like one lane, which you were talking about just working, is there no parking on the other side?
I don't know.
Because we have some,
We have a lot of small street projects that are coming together. We're doing 4 miles in various parts all over the city. So a lot is depending on how the contractor mobilizes and moves from one site to the other and keeps up with the milling equipment and then the overlay equipment. So we will do our best to provide notice before those things start. Depending how fast they move, there could be some temporary challenges. But once they're done, it's a nice smooth road.
Everywhere else, Jane, they did a good job of notifying the residents, knocking on the
well,
door.
we have 2
Don't park.
residents in that area that have numerous cars, and they always park in the street. I mean, it's a scam.
They're gonna get a thing saying don't park here after 6 a.m. or whatever, we're gonna be out there doing it. That's what they've done to other areas.
Jane, for a very small price, will give you about 100 extra.
Council, I don't know if you know this, but when these guys hired the people to do mayhem, that was the single best street job I've ever seen in my entire life. It was done in 3 days, and they were out of there. It was mayhem for 3 days. But mile by, they were in and out. That was awesome.
You say the Britain Road project?
No. I heard about Britain Road every once in a while.
It took a little bit more than 3 days.
Yeah.
That was a group called Promise.
Yeah.
Before you guys go, I want you to fill out, this is a meeting for our work session, so if you pass that down.
So what do we need to do about the email address?
Whatever your preference is, and then leave your lunch order out for Wednesday.
You have an individual.
If you don't give your lunch order back, we'll send you bring your own. So.
That's good. Okay, but what's that truck that you're pulling up here? We're gonna have to order off some truck that says nails and puppy dog tails or something.
Sean's Irish Buns.
Yeah. We supply hot dogs, you supply the buns. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for coming. We appreciate you guys all participating. We do think about the things that you say, we'll go over a lot of things. Once we get past the budget, we'll be in a different mode, so we appreciate it. We are out. Oh my God. I haven't had a beer in years.
Take a beer. Very good. Sold.
Yeah, we got it.